We're here at the Intelligent Content Conference, and I'm here with Nick, who's from Arkansas, right?
Absolutely. My
Yeah.
accent will give that away quite quickly. Born and bred,
Yeah,
Arkansas.
Trailer Parks of
Yeah,
Arkansas,
yeah.
and that's a no. But you're from England, and you are the co-founder and president of Lookbook HQ,
I
right?
am indeed, yeah. So I am English, but I've been living in Canada for about 8 years now, and the company is based in Toronto.
Oh, great. We went to Toronto last summer, and first time there, I'd never heard of poutine.
Okay.
And so we drove. We were like, we got to try this poutine thing. I'm like, what is it? And like gravy on fries. I'm like, seriously, why is Canadian bacon here? Why is poutine not a thing? Right?
It is good. It is a Canadian national delicacy.
It's
We're pretty
amazing.
proud.
Cheese, gravy, fries. Like,
Yeah.
where can you go
What's
wrong?
wrong? What's wrong with that?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna start boycotting restaurants that don't serve it.
Uh,
But so give us a little bit about your background. How'd you get started, and what kind of made you say, you know what, I think I'm gonna form a content marketing platform?
oh golly, where to start? Well, I guess so. Mark, who's my co-founder and our CEO, and myself, both of us have spent all of our careers in B2B, and we've all done that difficult job of trying to convince people to buy things.
Yeah.
And the way in which both of us have done that, whether or not it was sales roles or marketing roles, was using content. And so we became obsessed with how do we actually move someone through a sequence of content, and most importantly, the right content for
Yeah.
them in a way that works for them and in a way that works for the marketer. And what I mean by that is knowing that Bob, our prospect, is actually consuming that content, that he is educated. Because one of the conceits in marketing, which is something we're helping our customers with, and we have our customer base includes about 100 B2B mid-market enterprise
Okay.
marketing
Yeah.
teams. Companies like Cisco, Thomson Reuters, ADP, Polycom, Rockwell Automation, who
Yeah.
was speaking this afternoon with us in our case study session. Um, Marketers have been trained to become obsessed with a click, but Bob doesn't buy because he clicks on something. Like that was just the offer for the ad.
Yeah.
Rather the content offer, the email, the display channel, the LinkedIn sponsored update, whatever it was. That's really just an ad through to a piece of content. And so we became obsessed with what happens on the destination side of that click, and specifically how do we use the kind of moment of attention that we've generated? How do we use that to actually give them the right content that they need? And its core, how do we facilitate kind of content binging?
Yeah. And so you've developed a platform that allows for does it become the CMS? Does it integrate with the CMS? I mean, how does this thing operate?
So it works. It works with the CMS,
Yeah.
and it works very well with all the other channels. Particularly, I mean, one of the things about B2B is certainly for a lot of our customers, if they put all the content that you needed on their CMS, the whole thing would end up like a reference label. Like Rockwell Automation sells over 10,000 products. Like,
Yeah.
the CMS, typically kind of our customers' websites are best designed for kind of top of the funnel conversion. How do I take anonymous prospects and turn them into someone that's now a known member of my database that then I can nurture?
Yeah.
So you think about how many dead ends there are on a website, right? Like I click through to a hosted PDF. Well, that's a one and done content experience. If
Yeah.
I want anything more now, I have to go kind of back to the beginning and search again. The architecture, the CMS architecture isn't set up to enable content binging
Yeah.
on a kind of persona basis. Everything's structured around kind of products and solutions, and prospects don't necessarily relate to that. And again, what about all the content that you need them to engage with that isn't on your CMS for starters? So
Yeah.
that third-party review, the video that's on YouTube, sure, you might be able to embed it, but how do we bring all of that together and to create a coherent narrative across different content assets? How do I basically move you around the web? Maybe that includes part of your CMS without a shadow of a doubt, but this web page, that third-party article, this white paper or PDF,
Yeah.
this video, etc. Like, that's a content journey. Bob buys because he engages with
Yeah.
that, because he consumes it, and because he becomes educated.
So you guys, as I'm trying to figure out how this works, you're facilitating these journeys around, and your system is then collecting data back in and feeding
Absolutely.
it back to the the CRM or whatever the tool is to
Yep.
then showcase here's where the journeys are, and then also from the end user, they're seeing where to go next.
Yeah.
So how does that experience work? You
Well,
got me as a developer, I'm thinking like cookies and the domain trust and like where you're going and all this stuff. Like, what?
Well, there's some secret
Yeah.
sauce in there, but essentially, what our platform does is two things really well. The first is to always make sure that the next best content asset or assets are available in session.
Mm-hmm.
So one of the ways you might want to do that is to curate something. We have kind of like a behavior driven, or we have like something that's actually kind of looks and feels more like LinkedIn Pulse, where sure, I'm reading this, but here's some other related content on the left-hand side. We might want to trigger some kind of next offer after they spent 45 seconds reading it. We might want to land someone on, say, 9 things in aggregate and let them choose what it is they want to engage with. So we kind of think about the kind of consumption side, like what the prospect sees. There's a whole different types of styles, and some of them are optimized by channel. One of the things that we've recently launched is actually a kind of machine learning version of that too, where that's particularly designed for anonymous prospects and really kind of content discovery. Okay, so we don't know enough about you to tell you a story, but you've clicked through to this content asset. So what are the next best assets to put next to that, and basically let the machine figure that out.
Yeah.
Our algorithm looks at, well, what's the relationship between this content asset and the other content assets? What have people historically engaged with, kind of as the next best thing? We're working constantly to make that smarter and smarter.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of the next best asset side of things. And then the other side of it, to your point, was the engagement metrics. So actually, did Bob respond to this? Because as marketers, the way that we've been kind of grown up the MarTech stack over the last 5 years is it's been really focused on the channels.
Yeah.
And so the marketing automation platforms, for example, they've got the database. They're really good at email. They're very good at orchestration across channels, potentially. They're kind of, how do I run a campaign? But they deal in the channels, and they don't deal in what is a marketer's primary asset, which is the content.
Yeah.
And so we typically kind of inject ourselves into things like lead nurture campaigns. I've already structured 6 emails over 6 weeks, 10 on a Thursday to 10,000 people. Email 1 advertises content offer A, wait 1 week, send email 2, advertise content offer B, etc., etc.
Yeah.
Now, that'd be great in theory if you had anything better than a 2% click-through rate.
Yeah.
Because the math just doesn't support
Exactly.
that Bob is going to engage 6 times every Thursday at 10 o'clock with your content and be a marketing qualified lead at the end of it. It doesn't happen. So if we do get Bob to click on something, why on earth would we not give him the option of maybe accelerating through that nurture track here and now? And then we don't need to send him emails 2 or 3 or 4 because he's already engaged with B, C, and D.
Yeah.
And so we're tracking that, and we push that data back into the marketing automation platform where it can be used for acceleration, lead scoring, and fundamentally flow through to the sales guy. Because I'm sure we've all had the experience where, oh my God, I just filled in a form.
And I got a call.
And I go, oh, I haven't read it.
And
I'm not smarter.
I freaking eat the guy alive. I'm
Always.
like, let's talk about why you're such a crappy sales dude.
It's a terrible experience.
What gave you the all I wanted was a PDF? What made you think I was ready to buy enterprise class software? I mean,
Absolutely.
come on.
Whereas if you just spent 10.5 minutes across 3 content assets, that's a very different class of click and a class of engagement.
Yeah.
So the channel is going to tell you that Bob and Sally both clicked on the email or the display ad, or a non-A or a non-B. Both cost you $15 to deliver that display ad.
Yeah.
They're one of the 0.07% that clicked on the display ad. We're going to tell you how good that click was.
Yeah.
What did you actually do with it? How educated are Bob and Sally now as a result of that?
Exactly. And there's, I mean, with tag management, with, tools like Lucky Orange or Crazy Egg, you can get to the data, but you gotta go get to it. You gotta dig for it, and you gotta know what the hell you're doing, especially when it comes to tag management.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's hard. We need better tooling, right? And so that's where you guys come in.
So actually, we use Crazy Egg ourselves on our website, and one of the things we do is to look at the drop-off rates using Crazy Egg, and then essentially we have something called website promoters, and it runs as an overlay on top of our website, and we use that to trigger content offers. So on our homepage, for example, it's kind of, 800 pixels down the page. We trigger this because we know based on Crazy Egg, that's where people typically drop off and leave. 97% of our website traffic standard in B2B, leaves without taking any form of action.
Yeah.
But when I trigger a content offer as like an exit mode for them, well, that has a 6% click-through rate.
Yeah.
And that's phenomenal because that's taking traffic that was leaving and turning it into actual engagement with our content.
And I love that it's a further journey step, not a please sign up for my newsletter. Right? Because it's like, let's just get past the dating stage and go straight into relationship. I want to email you for the rest of my life, right? And I think that it's just like, there's got to be other calls to action besides please be my friend.
I'm a massive fan of ungating of content. I think landing pages are unnecessary. I think they're a construct. I mean, typically, you've just clicked on the email, someone takes you to a landing page, and it contains exactly the same information that the email did, but now there's a bloody form in the way of it. So why would I possibly want to make it harder for you to engage with my content? Because I can do the de-anonymization and figure out that you're Bob, and tell you that Bob just spent 2.5 minutes reading your white paper. I don't need the form to do that. And then we can actually do smart things in our platform, like pop a time-based form. So Bob's just spent 10 minutes across 3 content assets. Why don't we then trigger something to say, do you actually want to put your hand the whole way up, Bob? Do you want to talk to sales?
Yeah.
Because those forms, that's the best possible type of form fill.
Yeah.
They've engaged with your content. They're now in a position that they can voluntarily move themselves to the next stage of their relationship with you, and
which is what they want in the end, anyway.
Absolutely.
Right? They want to be the ones in control of it, and not the intercom IO pop up saying, "Hey, you want to be my friend? Do you have any questions?" Right? And I mean, we've seen marketers just need to go into their favorite stores, and when the salesperson comes up to them, say, "Were you ready for that engagement?" Right? If not, then take that home with you and say, "What am I doing this?"
Yeah.
And then when you are looking for somebody, and you're like, where are the people? I need help around here.
Yeah.
And that's what most websites are, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You get to the place where, like, I really want to learn more. I just don't know what to do. And I don't want to call somebody, right? I'm in the store. I don't want to call somebody. I want to know what to do.
I can't, unfortunately, tell you who it is, but our newest customer, this is kind of hot off the press as of 2 hours ago, is a large CMS provider. And so they've seen enough value in that. They know what they're set up to do, and that they do some things phenomenally well. But they don't do what we do, which is kind of almost like the web-like effect off the CMS to start to tie this all together.
Yeah, and I think that still a lot of marketers really don't understand how the web works.
No.
And they don't understand the value of having links out and links in, and actually going out and putting good, rich content out in other locations, and then having that be a part of the journey, right?
Absolutely.
And driving back to ABM, I know that's something you guys focus on.
Yeah, we've got some pretty solid ABM successes, because I think what's really interesting to me about ABM is it's kind of bookended by 2 very strong databases, right? So who are my target accounts? Who should I be marketing to? And that's an awful lot of the predictive vendors can help with that. What is my ideal customer profile? Who fits it, etc. And then the other end of that is, well, what are they doing? The interesting thing is how do we change our marketing in the middle, right? We know who we should be talking to, and hopefully we can track kind of what they should be doing using tools like Engagio or Marketer's ABM solution, for example. In the middle there, it's like, right, well, how do we actually then start to deliver the right content to the right account at the right time? Yeah. And again, it's possible to take demand-based as a customer, for example. It's possible to take some of these feeds kind of to identify kind of anonymous prospects from key accounts, and then make sure that they end up in the right content experience that is tailored for GE, say, or something entirely different like Glaxo for a pharmaceutical type of experience. Like, these need to have different case studies, right? How do we make it relevant to that? How do we basically look at that on an account? And then how do we roll up that account engagement data, say, well, here's what the anonymous people have done, here's what the known prospects have done to date, what are they missing? Because at that point, then we can start to get a better idea out of, well, what remaining content do they have to see to be able to reach like a consensus buying committee decision? Yeah. So I think that's absolutely fascinating, but I'm a nerd.
I mean, but it's finally like the nerds and the the marketers got to come together and really talk about what has been available the whole time.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
And what when we build little skunkwork projects and stuff like that, we're always playing with data. We're always doing these things, and it's like we just need the project to actually go out and want to do it, and then we need to have customers be excited and ready to engage with clients.
Yeah.
That they are, not just looking for the quick, easy win or the quick, easy form, or because I think that's the thing that kills technology is when somebody says, "I want to build it myself." I want to put together my own marketing automation path, or I want to put together my own forms, and so just give me a forms tool for marketers.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, let's actually make sure the data gets put in the right place and gets sent around. And if we know something about that person, let's pre-fill some of the stuff. Right?
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I've been hearing loud and clear at the Intelligent Content Conference is the need for a kind of central repository for the content where it can be made actionable. And then I think if you follow that through, what we also need is what's the data set that we're going to train artificial intelligence against? Like Watson's working with H&R Block, for example, because IBM trained Watson on the US tax code, which must have been a barrel of laughs.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the question for us is like using AI and kind of machine learning, obviously, within marketing, what's the data set that we're training it against?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things that we're basically doing with our customers at the moment is building out that data set for them using this kind of rich engagement data, because then that in combination with some of the machine learning algorithms that we've got, well, that becomes phenomenally powerful.
Yeah.
Because we've got the success stories, we know what good is, etc. But without that,
I
don't know what we do.
It's not just scrape all the text and then find the patterns and stuff like that,
Yeah,
right? We need to know more than rich text fields, right? What content goes here and how
Absolutely.
it all works.
I mean, I've got a really simplistic way of looking at it because I'm not an engineer by background. And sometimes I like to tease our own engineering team that this is one big Excel file, right?
Yeah.
Fortunately, it's not, for the avoidance of doubt, for
It's
anyone
close,
listening.
but
It's
if it's modern Excel, it's in XML. It's there. You just got to undo the zip file and look around.
not. There's some fancy stuff in the back end. The what I think of it is really interesting though. Like there's a visitor model. So who's the person that's showing up here? Like what do we know about them? First party, third party, etc. And they're engaging with a piece of content, or they've clicked through to a piece of content, yet to be seen if they actually engage, but they click through to a piece of content. What do we know about that?
Yeah.
Has it been manually tagged, for example? What do we programmatically know about it? How long should it take you to engage with this content?
I like that one.
Who
That's
is
one we don't
it
think
actually
of.
written for? Like how hard a read is it? What stage of the buyer's journey is it actually designed for? Et cetera, et cetera. What's it really about? It's been tagged as this, but what's the content actually say? And then we're really looking at how those two models interact. Like that's the engagement model. And this is really where we're generating success from and what we can then train against. And then we need to look at contextualizing that within the prospect's progression through your funnel. So this is what happened when they were at MQL. What happened when they were at sales, etc., lead stage, etc. What ultimately got them to closed won? What was the content journey across this? And then we start to apply that back.
And
so
then
much still to do.
and then you can start to think of like the pages themselves truly becoming a choose your own adventure book, to where it's like, because we know this and this about them, we can adapt the content to not just say new page, but new pieces of content,
Spot
new
on.
images.
Yeah.
If we know they're GE, let's put a GE logo around
You got
here,
it.
right? Let's preempt this stuff.
No.
And you just got it, like you said, the schema. It cannot be rich text, and it cannot be just, I got to put content in the content management system. It has to be, unfortunately, it can't be WordPress anymore, right? Let's let that blog engine be a blog engine again.
Yeah.
And let's look at true item-based, content management systems that are synchronized with the rest of the systems we use, and aim at that. And then I see so many potentials for custom search results for businesses that aren't driven based off of just certain pages like Google does, but if we know a content item, we know it looks like this particular type, we know it fits well in here, let's boost the rank and then let's display it differently.
I fully agree. I think that my concern is the implications of that on the MarTech stack as it exists here today. They're already, I think at the Serious Decisions Summit last July, I think that kind of 85% of the audience said that they were going to build their own best-of-breed MarTech stacks. My kind of concern is that I don't see a lot of people doing change management around that. The technology is one thing, but then it's the change management around the workflow, etc. What you just outlined has implications again on the need for that stack to evolve pretty significantly in very short order. So I'm hoping that some smart people will step up to start to think about the change management that's actually required around that and to facilitate that change.
But I think a big piece is the events like this are great, and it's awesome to see MarTech vendors come and be a part of it. But what I want to see is a MarTech conference for MarTech vendors.
Right.
And essentially a council that says, we have to interrupt. And if this and that is not working anymore, right? How can we start to say, okay, let's define schema, let's define things that we can commit to and and interject with each other, and so we can make this ecosystem work better.
Yeah.
And it's going to take a lot of people to get off their high horses and quit being so uber competitive with everybody, but really sit down and say, it's time to build a better marketing environment.
I think that's spot on. I mean, one of the things we see, we've all seen the kind of, there's 3,500 plus vendors in the MarTech stack.
Yeah.
Typically, certainly amongst our customer base, we see the same things over and over again, right? Like everyone's MarTech stack is broadly looks and feels the same. We see the same 20, maybe 30 companies part of it and solutions as part of it. So what we're starting to do already is how do we build closer relationships with that? Because it has to work up and down. We have to work up and down.
Yeah.
Some of the data that we need is in other systems. So how do we go and get it? We need to put our data back into different systems. Maybe not just the map, maybe not just the CRM, maybe back into the display channel so that they actually serve a better ad, that they pursue the people that are engaging rather than pursuing and continuing to spend money on the channel on people that aren't engaging with the content. So I see that as very much on us.
And it can't just be a snippet of JavaScript. It has to be like an open API with seamless integration and two-way sync, right? And all these things that make it valuable.
Absolutely. And I think the maps, to give them credit, they did, they've all got there in terms of opening that up. But that's only part of it. And I think it's on ourselves and some of maybe the other
partners and vendors.
Absolutely.
To jump in there and help, because we're a Sitecore and a Brightcove partner. There's no reason we can't make a better widget with them together because it's in our best interest to have it work together, and it's been our best interest of our clients. And so having that ecosystem all come together.
Brightcove is a case in point. We've had some great discussions with them. It makes eminent sense for us to be more tightly integrated. It's all just a question of prioritization.
Yeah, exactly.
Too many things to do.
Which one's higher? Vidyard, Brightcove, all these other things. You got to figure it out.
Yeah.
But it's been great, and I want to continue the conversation at another point and actually go through and demo the product, because I think it is fascinating and it does fit a definite hole a black hole sitting in the marketing space.
I hope so. I've got two small children that hope so too. So, because otherwise they're going to have to be a lot brighter than they currently are to win college scholarships.
Awesome. Well, thanks for your time.
My pleasure. Cheers. Thanks for having me.